not convinced it's good, but we'll see. I'm open to being proven wrong because I think it's cool too. But yeah, we're seeing like competing takes on range, I think is really neat. With Brian's team using Bundle and Brandon's team using Dreadnought, which I guess is more traditional, although I think Rain Bundle is probably something that's going to be at least like somewhat relevant. And we saw Breloom come to like all of Brian's games. I'm pretty sure he's led it like every game he's been on stream, and it's been kind of a menace. Hopefully Brandon has better options for trying to deal with it. He's got a Sableye, but it doesn't look like it's carrying Taunt or anything that can really prevent it. But Iron Valiant is, of course, faster than it in the rain mode. Oh, it's shiny.
Oh my gosh,
too.
that looks so cool. Okay, I love this Pokemon.
I don't know if
so
I like
much.
the shiny, though.
It's okay. Your opinion is irrelevant to me now because you like Iron Bundle. It's fine.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. So we've got Salamence and Mimikyu here. Again, what year is it, y'all?
Yeah, Sableye's a cool Pokemon.
Sableye and Iron Valiant here is leader choice for Brandon. We did see that Quark Drive get activated because of that booster energy, but the Intimidate from Salamence going down into this Iron Valiant. So honestly, that is such a
Wait,
sick
did you see what stat it was? though?
Absolutely not, because I was too busy getting upset about the fact that you did not like it shiny.
I think it should be attack.
It's probably.
Oh, no, it's speed. It's speed. It should be speed.
Oh wow, but that makes
so it should be speed. I
scary
didn't see,
fast.
but that, so that makes it very fast. It's definitely the fastest thing on the field. But it probably doesn't really like seeing Salamence all that much. At least for the Intimidate, although I guess it's like pretty offensively threatening into everything that's here on the field. So this is like kind of an interesting spot for it. I just fear that it really has like no bulk, and it's just like constantly going to get knocked out by everything.
Even if that happens, the only thing that matters to me is that we actually got to see it. But Brian is actually going to start us off here with a Terra Steel Salamence.
Nice.
So going to get rid of that flying and that dragon typing here for it. As Iron Valiant actually goes for a protect this turn, doesn't want to take any damage from Brian's side of the field. I'm going to make sure that at least it can hold on here. As Will-O-Wisp is actually going to connect here onto that Mimikyu. So Will-O-Wisp is going to knock down that attack stat from that Mimikyu. Sure, it has that Life Orb, but it's going to have to take Life Orb damage and burn damage now here, as Terra Blast from that Salamence goes straight into that Protect.
That is interesting. And now this is kind of like a...
Wow.
Oh, into Protect.
Yeah, that Valiant was really like, hey, I'm the biggest target right now, so let's stop that.
Yeah, so now the Valiant, though, has the opportunity to just kind of like blast the Salamence slot with a close combat if it wants to do that. I think that's an option that's available to it. But it's still early in the game. We haven't seen what either player is backing, so it's a little tough to try and commit to offense when you're Iron Valiant, because this is kind of the thing about it that I think is a little spooky. Is it's kind of like playing something like Greninja or Cinderace before it was able to Dynamax, where like sure you can take a knockout onto something, but then like you're not surviving the turn. Like I don't really know, like it just has so little bulk that it's really scary to be trying to click attacks with this thing. But instead Breloom's just going to come in, and it is not going to like taking a close combat.
It's going to take two attacks actually. Yeah, so Salamence is going to get switched out for that Breloom. Breloom going to take that close combat here as Iron Valiant special defense and defense falls down the stage. Play Rough from Mimikyu. Oh, going to miss the Iron Valiant here as Sableye's foul play goes into that Breloom. It's not enough to pick up the knockout, however, but Mimikyu so just gonna have to take a little bit of extra damage from that burn. But honestly, hey, that Breloom was able to hang on. So hey, you know what? It was better than I expected for it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, still it doesn't seem like there's like a whole lot that it can do, because the Valiant can just like knock it out right now if it really wants to. It could go for a Mach Punch just to try and fire off some damage, but if you catch a passive turn from the Valiant, then like something is going to sleep, which would be really scary.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, and I just saw that now. I don't. But Icy Wind is actually a really cool option. I had no idea that it got it. I'm always surprised by like Gallade and Gallade adjacent Pokemon, because they have all these weird moves that come from it, like being related to Gardevoir.
It also has Wide Guard.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the Pokemon I found that out. But Icy Wind, so protect here from the Breloom is going to make sure that like it's stopped here. But the Mimikyu's Disguise is actually going to get broken now because of that attack. NX Speed is going to get knocked down one more just by one stage here. It's going to take a little bit of damage from that. Play Rough, another miss here into the Iron Valiant. That is rough. So Iron Valiant actually going to like it's just dodging Play Roughs left and right, as foul play from Sableye is enough to pit that Mimikyu in that, actually not quite enough to begin the knockout. I thought it was, that was my bad. But Mimikyu was still able to hang on. Maybe one day it'll land actually I don't think it's going to survive.
I don't think it's going to get the opportunity to click it again. I think an Icy Wind is just going to take two knockouts here, and then whatever you want to do with Sableye. Maybe like Will-O-Wisp the switch, or just like foul play the switch. But yeah,
You get to see
oh,
it.
it's here.
It's finally here.
Oh, it's shiny.
You know what?
Oh,
Its
I
shiny
love
is way
it.
better looking than its regular version. I prefer. You know what?
Oh, I love it.
I
Oh.
I like it better than when it
Iron
looks like a
Bundle.
Delibird. Oh gosh. Yeah. So actually another speed boost. So Sableye and Breloom actually both leaving the field, and Iron Bundle finally making an appearance here in the finals, as Pelipper also shows up on the field now as well. I'm gonna bring with it the rain, much like what'll be like outside in a little bit, but Icy Wind gonna be enough to pick up the knockout here on Mimikyu. Iron Bundle is just like, okay, sure, cool, you hit me. Speed is gonna drop a little bit, but we do know that it had that its speed heightened by that Quark Drive boost as well, thanks to that booster energy.
Yeah, so it's effectively back to neutral, but the Valiant still has its Quark Drive boost, so it should be faster right now. Although with Salamon's coming back in, it's at -2, so I'm not so sure it would take a knockout onto Iron Bundle. It definitely wouldn't take a knockout onto Salamence. I'm not really familiar with its defensive calcs. But yeah, so Pelipper is in position to maybe just click Tailwind for whatever Brandon has in the back, but I think it's mostly just to get Rain up right now so that when Valiant gets knocked out, it's just like a free switch to Dreadnought.
Oh, yep. So we do see that like you're kind of locking into the tailwind there. Maybe another Icy Wind just to give yourself more speed advantage.
I think
But
you probably
I
want to
don't
close combat
Yeah.
something, no? I would think about close combating here. I think maybe just like getting chip damage down onto Salamence, because Salamence is something, when it's in Terra Steel, is actually something that Dreadnought is going to have some trouble with. So you probably want to get some damage down
Interesting.
onto that, but it looks like he's just going to go ahead and go for his Spirit Break.
Yeah, so Spirit Break into the Iron Bundle does literally nothing at all like that. Sure, that moved, and the special attack is going to drop here, but Iron Bundle going for the Freeze Dry. It's going to do super effective damage into that Pelipper. He's going to knock it down to 1 HP, going to proc that Focus Sash as Salamence goes for the Hurricane down into that Iron Valiant is actually going to get hit by an attack finally from that spot, as Iron Valiant is going to get knocked out this
Can't
turn.
dodge that one.
No, but those play rough misses were kind of wild, as Pelipper is actually able to set up the Tailwind here thanks to the fact that it did have that Focus Sash. So Brandon not quite losing both Pokemon, but still kind of in a rough spot now. Like, you know, that Terra Steel typing is really kind of
Yeah.
difficult.
I think he's gonna have a hard time breaking it. Like you can go for liquidations, but like giving like even just like switching out Salamence and sacking into that slot so that you can get another Intimidate down into Dreadnought, I think would be really smart and would make it really difficult to deal with Salamence. I think it definitely takes a -1 liquidation even when it's Steel type, and probably KOs back because Dreadnought doesn't have a whole lot of defense. So there are definitely ways for Brian to win this game, but this is like a pretty good position for Brandon here, where he can, you know, go for a Rock Slide and potentially knock out the bundle, or just go for a liquidation into the Salamence slot and try and knock that out. Salamence actually not switching here. I guess you don't have to switch it, but it's going to take a lot of damage from this liquidation.
Yeah, that Dreadnought went, hey, I'm going
If it
to
is a
get
liquidation.
that Terra water typing here. The Tailwind is up from that Pelipper earlier, and so now Dreadnought going through liquidation is going to get that boost from both Rain and from that Terra typing. Is enough to pick up the knockout actually on the Salamence with that Terra Steel. So Salamence able to take out the Iron Valiant, but is going to get knocked out by liquidation here in return for those efforts. And the Iron Bundle still on like the field here, and it's, you know, it's gonna have some fun possibly if it survives this Hurricane from the Pelipper. Nope, not quite enough. Iron Bundle is gonna go down. I genuinely cannot stand seeing that head get removed.
Oh, I think
that
it's
way.
funny.
The shiny is great, love that coloring, but like, you know, I just other than that, I can't stand that thing. But Breloom's gonna come back out onto the field, the lone Pokemon left with
Yeah, there's
1
nothing you can
HP,
do
and
here.
Breloom's just like, oh, this is not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of thinking that maybe it would have been better to kind of like sack into that slot and try and see if you can take a -1 liquidation. I'm not actually sure if Salamence can when it's Steel type. That's like kind of a niche set of calcs I'm not really familiar with. But I think looking at game 2, there's a couple things that could have like really changed the outcome of the game. Is that if the bundle was able to get onto the field without having to take both an Icy Wind and a Spirit Break, that it's probably taking like 2 or 3 KOs in the late game there, and that kind of goes all the way back to Play Rough missing. Is that like if you were able to get the Valiant off the field a little bit quicker and get bundle on safely, I think that kind of game plan is probably like pretty solid, but it requires, I guess, a couple things going Brian's way.
Yeah, and I mean, when you get all, I think when you use up a lot of your luck for earlier games with like sleep turns and all that stuff, you know, eventually it's probably gonna have to be balanced out by the player.
That is a logical fallacy,
yep,
Regina.
that's fine. It's fine. That's how VGC works, guys. Right? It's like your hypnosis is 60% of the time, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's exactly how it works. So, I mean, it's just sort of like, it's actually surprising to me that we hadn't seen Play Rough miss more often, because it is one of those moves that like every now and then I'm just like, oh, like I'm just waiting for the moment that it misses, right? Like to actually see it hit that many times and then finally get like the misses, it's like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense, like accuracy wise. I mean, obviously it's like really rough for Brian, right? Because like, you're seeing it and you're just like the Iron Violent is there just because the Mimikyu couldn't, like, even with the burn,
right,
like negation on there, like you're still in a rough spot, like with the Iron Violent just sitting there for it.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously it was a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas, but I think that even though that Brandon won the game and ended up winning it by 2 or 3 Pokemon, that it probably was a lot closer had one of those Play Roughs hit.
Yeah. And it's just so interesting to see, because like then you save your Terra typing for that, but like, are you ever going to be, if the Play Roughs had hit, right, would you force yourself to like maybe either preserve the Iron Valiant or like maybe Terra it, just because you can at least make sure that the fairy like attack does, like the Play Rough does like neutral, and it's just one of those pathways of like, oh, what would have happened here? But Iron Bundle and Pelipper, so it's like actually the combination you've been waiting for this entire tournament, versus Pelipper and Sableye.
Yeah, so I think that my thought is that Brian's like thought process here is to guarantee that Bundle gets to be the fastest thing on the field at some point by setting up a Tailwind here. So it definitely, you know, will be here. I think players are probably gonna think about trading Tailwinds, but Bundle's also just free to kind of like go for an attack here. Like Hydro Pump to Sableye is probably a knockout, and then we know that the Freeze Dry into Pelipper is just going to take it down to Sash. So getting Bundle safely onto the field here, I think, is really going to be a big game plan for Brian, or at least a big mover.
All right,
and it's going to Terra. Oh, it's a Ghost type.
You're so excited about it. You're like, oh, this is such a precious little Pokemon. Look how, yeah. So, Brian showing off another Ghost-type Terra here with the Iron Bundle, but the Fake Out actually going into the Pelipper instead. So, Iron Bundle going for the Freeze Dry, but we do know that that Brandon's Pelipper does have a Focus Sash, so it's going to be able to hold on with that 1 HP thanks to that item. Is going to set up the Tailwind, going to deny Brian's own potential Tailwind maybe that he was setting up. But Brandon here going to have at least that 1 turn extra for right now, and if Brian is able to safely set up next turn with it, it's gonna have that. But this Pelipper is just sort of hanging on by a thread right now.
Yeah, I think that Brian has a pretty potentially safe like Protect Tailwind play. I don't really see a reason why he wouldn't necessarily do that, because Bundle's gonna be faster than everything except for Dreadnought in the rain, so I think you could maybe punish that with like a hard Dreadnought switch, but that's like a hard thing to do, right, with Bundle on the field, is that if you try to switch Dreadnought in and the Bundle just goes for an attack, that's a little spooky. But it looks like it's just going to be Protect Tailwind, and there's no switch here, so smart play by Brian.
Alright, and so the Iron Bundle going to hide behind and Protect, as Pelipper from Brandon is going to hit into that protected spot. It's going to be okay here. Sableye actually doubling down into that as well, so Brian just safely protecting this Iron Bundle here, and like you said, just free to set up its own Tailwind, so we'll have at least a 1 speed turn of advantage later on, so long as, like, if this game doesn't get wrapped up before Brandon's Tailwind's turns expire.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, do we know which Pelipper is faster?
No, because the Sableye faked out the one from earlier.
Oh yeah, we could have did it. I want to say that Brian's was moving first, but it's also possible that they're just speed tying here, so...
The Hydro Pump miss here into the Sableye spot. That spot is just cursed.
It hurts.
And Pelipper's capitalizing on that, goes into the Iron Bundle. Is able to survive?
It takes a million. Well, it's going to get foul played.
Yeah, but also gets the confusion in here too, as well as Pelipper is going to go, Pelipper on Brian's side going to go for that 1 HP onto Brandon's. But hey, you know what? Brandon's Pelipper put in work there, was able to get, like, all of that Iron Bundle goes down on this turn. That Hydro Pump miss, you hate to see it. I missed Scald so much, guys.
That's tough. That's tough.
Really rough.
And that's probably like, you know, one of the few drawbacks as a Pokemon of Bundle, like the fact that you just have X% chance to miss your strongest attack every single turn. Like, feels bad. It feels really bad. But yeah, now this is basically going to be like a really good position for Dreadnought. But if Pelipper's packing Wide Guard, then you get to play like a fun game about like, am I going to Wide Guard? Are you going to try to Rock Slide? Am I just going to go for a liquidation. So even though it looks like a pretty commanding offensive position, there are kind of like a lot of things that could happen to the alternative.
Yeah, I mean, you're also like, if you're looking at this, right, we just saw what Brandon sort of clicked in, because if you're looking at Salamence and you're looking at the team sheet, you're just like, oh, Salamence can't clearly protect. Like, okay, either switch, like, you one more Pokemon in the background, you can switch it in, or the Salamence just takes a ton of damage.
It's probably Breloom too, so it doesn't really want to switch into this stuff, but I think you could potentially think about, kind of like I was saying last game, that cycling Salamence probably feels pretty good, so that you can throw an Intimidate down onto the Dreadnought. Yeah, and it's probably going to take a decent amount of damage from like a Hydro Pump or even a Hurricane, which it can go for, because this will be neutral into the Terra Water, so you can like potentially manage it. Potentially like a Hurricane plus a Mach Punch might be enough to knock it out, even though it's water type, because it'll take a decent amount of damage from Hurricane, but we'll kind of have to see how much damage it does.
And there's Ice Spinner into that Breloom, not enough to get it down into the Focus Sash range.
What?
Which is kind of wild here as Pelipper's Hurricane goes into that Dreadnought spot here.
Oh, that does so much. That is for sure Mach Punch range.
Foul Play, though, going to pick up the knockout here on that Breloom. So Breloom is here to show up and get knocked out.
Yeah, I think you needed Breloom to survive that switch in there, but you do have one turn of Tailwind. So Salamence is going to be faster for like one turn, and then I think that unless somebody's holding a Damp Rock, we should be coming up on the end of...
Yes,
there is a Damp Rock, but wouldn't it have depended on which rain activated first as to how long it's going to be?
Which we didn't pay attention to.
No, because I think that's how it works, right? Is that because Brandon's Pelipper was moving first on that last
actually,
turn.
That's only one turn, you're right.
Right, so it's the wrong rain.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Or the right rain, depending on how you're looking at it. So that means, like, you've got the one turn of Tailwind, right? And then the rain is going to expire so that Salamence will go back to being faster than Dreadnought.
That's so what an interesting sort of, like, interaction of Pelippers.
Yeah, it's just whichever one goes up first.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so honestly, Brian's like, thank God that the Damp Rock wasn't on my end, or else that Dreadnought is just getting boosted.
Yep.
Alright, and Dreadnought's actually like, hey, I'm gonna protect this turn to make sure that, like, I don't have to worry about something. Oh, Will-O-Wisp gonna land here on that Salamence. I mean,
just to put it on a timer.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? Good for you, Sableye, for hitting your Will-O-Wisp, as Draco Meter from Salamence is going to go into that.
Oh my god, I thought that was another miss for a minute, and I would have been furious.
I would have felt so terrible for that. But Pelipper's Hurricane is going to hit down into that Sableye. This Sableye is like such a champ. Sure, it's going to get confused here, but honestly, at the end of the day, the Sableye has put in way more work than I expected it to.
We've seen a lot of Hurricane confuses today.
Yeah, isn't it like a 1% chance?
A 1%? No, it's like 20 or 30.
Oh, okay.
It's like relatively high, but we've definitely seen it at a higher percentage than that. So Tailwinds are both down, Rain is down, so Salamence is the fastest thing on the field, followed by, I believe, Pelipper. So this should give Brian the opportunity to go for 2 attacks.
You think Rain is down.
Oh.
You think Rain is down, but Prankster would like a word with all of you. That is actually a fantastic sort of twist here. If that Sableye can break through this confusion, that would be great. Oh man, that would have been so beautiful. That is actually.
Oh my goodness.
That would have been so fantastic. That if that confusion hadn't been able to like be broken through, then that Sableye setting up Rain
Yeah,
Dance,
and it could have just Rock Slide, right?
That would have been so
Spinner.
Yeah, I think it went for a Spinner in this, but it still would have been just like super interesting, because like now it was like, oh cool. But Pelipper's free to go for a Tailwind now here for giving the speed advantage one more time to Brian. The burn is very unfortunate, but actually you are locked into choice specs here, aren't you?
Yeah, you have to
with Draco Meter.
Yeah, but you should still be. Well, you can't Draco the Valiant, right?
You can't Draco the Valiant at all.
And Sableye should still be in range. So this is maybe going to come down to hitting a Hurricane onto the Valiant out of rain. But also, I don't know, like, if Pelipper is definitely faster than Valiant here.
Wait, you can't even like
because it's Quark speed, right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's not.
Oh, this is
actually it's almost definitely not, right? So it should definitely get to attack into Pelipper, or like before Pelipper.
All right, actually going to go for a protect here on this turn. So going to at least burn one turn of Tailwind here. So Iron Valiant going to make sure it doesn't take any damage. Draco Meter from Salamence is going to go straight into that Sableye. Was definitely in range. So it's going to be at -4 now, however. And that Pelipper is actually going to try to... Actually, does it have any other attacking moves here? Hurricane, Hydro Pump, and... Oh, okay, so Hurricane and Hydro Pump are the only 2 attacking moves that Brian's Pelipper has.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments where we're going to see if all of those earlier misses are gonna like balance itself out, right?
Yeah, so he probably has to he has to survive like 2 Spirit Breaks, right?
Alright, there's 1 Spirit Break here into that Pelipper.
Oh, that's
was that
close.
3?
That's close.
That feels like 3. Special attacks
Is Hurricane enough to knock out?
Hurricane is gonna miss.
Oh my goodness.
Honestly, because if you're Brandon,
Okay,
you
like
just...
I don't think a -2 will KO. So now you have to hit Hurricane and then
get a confusion,
get a confusion
oh my
or a
gosh.
crit or something, right?
There's just a lot going on here right now. I mean, yeah, I guess you could protect if you really felt like it, but there's no really. I mean,
it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, sure. You're burning protect turns here now because maybe this is the Hurricane that would have hit. Maybe this is the Hydro Pump that would have hit. But poor Salamence. Actually, wait. So if Salamence burns enough Draco Meters and it gets locked into it because Transpex, it doesn't struggle, right?
It would struggle.
So,
yeah, but.
But then you're like doing so much damage to yourself, and that would burn.
Yeah, no, that's not a win condition. I don't think. But the other thing I think is Hurricane PP, like. I think it's used it at least 4 or 5 times, but ultimately this is just going to come down to like hitting a Hurricane, and you just need something to go. You need a little help. Yeah.
All right, well here's that second Spirit Break gonna go down into that Pelipper.
Yeah.
No, not quite enough to get that knockout. So now if it hits this Hurricane. If it hits the Hydro Pump, whichever one you click, Brian.
It's gotta be Hurricane.
Oh, okay, Hurricane hits. There's a Hurricane hit. Oh man.
Confused?
Oh my god! What the heck? So the confusion here into that. Okay, all right. So we're still in it. This is the wildest game I think all day right now. This is just. All right. Okay. If Iron Valiant can at least try to get this,
gotta
you
get a
have
hit
to
and
hit
then
this.
also hit another Hurricane.
Yeah. So you have to hit at least one more if you're the Pelipper. Iron
maybe
Valiant
it'll
has to
just
break
kill
through
itself.
this. I don't think from that range. Okay, manages to get the Spirit Break though. Is it in struggle range now though?
I think it's still got a couple to go.
I mean, if it's in struggle range, you might have a chance.
I think maybe that's the last one.
Depending on how many Draco Meters it's
no, because it would have to
used.
take a Spirit Break, and there's
if it doesn't break through the confusion.
Oh, that's right. It's still confused.
It is still confused. There is a way still for Brian to win this. Like that's kind of that would have been so that would have been so crazy. Like oh my god, yeah. I don't know if you guys could hear everybody in the back. Just that was the wildest turn of events because you hit almost every win condition you could have if you were Brian, and I think that was I can't even imagine how he's feeling right now. But that was just
so
wild
funny.
and stressful.
It's hard to feel bad about that. I think you just laugh at
that
those kinds of games.
That was great to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I think that was
funny.
probably my favorite endgame that I've seen all day. Just going for, hey, I need to hit Hurricanes, and I need the confusion, and I needed to hit the confusion, and oh my gosh, that was intense.
Yeah, that was funny. But congrats to Brandon. That's a nice win there.
Yeah, it's so now you have to fight him for the Mr. B-Dog title.
Oh, that's real. It's not it's just the B-Dog title.
Oh, sorry. You have to fight him for the B-Dog title now. So
I can't believe you won. Oh my god.
I'm so happy. Iron Valiant won.
I'm having an identity crisis.
I'm so excited because now I can prove, I can say because of this match that Iron Valiant is better than Iron Bundle.
I mean, I don't think that's true.
No, it's not. But
I don't think that's true in any world.
But
that's what you
right
have
now.
to do to cope. Then by all means, like cope away.
Yeah. But thank you guys for joining us for this tournament.
The cut matches were fun.
They were very exciting.
Fun matches.
Thank you once again to Pokemon Labs, our wonderful Miguel, and POW Gaming and Troy, who was behind the computer all day. Thank you so much, Troy. And of course, Brendan, who made a very long drive actually up from San Diego, which is
that bad.
It's sitting an hour and a half.
It's gonna be longer back though.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But thank you for.
It was
joining
worth
us.
it. It was worth it. I regret nothing. I did my best. I have no regrets.
And thank you guys for joining us. Our next tournament will be on the 29th. But if you feel like playing other games in between that, we also they actually do Super Smash Brothers on Wednesdays and Saturdays here. And I think that's about all I got. But thank you again, and thank you to all of you. So have a good night and have a good rest of your week, guys.